So we are gonna deliver the final lecture. And still, if you have any problem, then we can discuss the additional issues in our coming lecture. And on 16th, they are going to make a presentation. And today, we are going to discuss about the statement of cash flows. Especially, cash is very important asset of any company. That's why cash is considered as one of the most sensitive asset of any business. That's why every organization prepares a cash flow statement. Say, for example, in your profit planning, you prepared a cash budget, isn't it? So this cash budget is ultimately cash flow statement. You have prepared cash inflows, outflows, etc. So that cash inflows and outflows ultimately cash flow statement. So you either can receive cash or you can, what you can do, pay cash. So that means receiving cash means inflows and paying cash means outflows. And cash and bank account or bank balance is same. So in today's world, cash and bank balance is equivalent, same. So when you are sending or you are paying money through check, credit card or debit card, this is also equivalent to cash. And especially in business organization, there are three types of cash flows. Cash flows from operating activities, cash flows from financing activities, and cash flows from investing activities. So you have to understand three different activities in a business. One is operating activities, another is financing activities, another is investing activities. So we are coming, maybe the definition are given here. So the statement of cash flows provides information about an entity's cash receipts and cash payments during a period. Where did the cash come from during the period? What was the cash used for during the period? And what was the change in cash balance during the period? Cash balance, that means in your cash balance, there is a beginning cash balance, ending cash balance, that is ultimately cash balance. How much you have. These three issues are there. And in cash flow statement, cash equivalents, short-term, highly liquid investment that are both readily convertible to known amount of cash and so near to their maturity that their market value is relatively insensitive to changes in interest rates. So, what is cash? Ultimately, here indicates what is cash. Prepared using cash and cash equivalents. So, bank balance is cash equivalents. Cash equivalents also indicate short-term, highly liquid investments that are both readily convertible to known amount of cash. Say, for example, if you have FDR, Sanchayapatra, can you convert it any time? Anytime you can convert. Maybe you will not get the interest. Say, for example, when you're converting FDR into cash, so FDR is readily convertible. So that is also equivalent to cash. And so near to their maturity that their market value is relatively insensitive to changes in interest rates. Say, for example, you have deposited fund for 1 year, FDR, and 11 months is over. So it is so near to their maturity. So it is also equivalent to cash. And types of cash, there are three types we have said. One is operating activities. What is operating activities? Operating activities means the intended purpose of the business. Say, for example, for a garments company, operating activities includes buying raw materials, selling garments, operating activities. For a sewing machine manufacturing company, sewing machine manufacturing company, its operating activities is buying sewing machines or metals and making sewing machines and selling sewing machines, operating activities. But for a garments company, for a garments company, selling sewing machines is not their operating activities. Am I clear what is operating activities? Mr. Khalid.
Yes, sir.
So, what about Mr. Where is Mr. Uddin?
Yes, sir.
Ziuddin.
Ji, sir.
So, what is operating activities is clear.
Yes, sir.
So, what are the cash inflows and outflows for operating companies, operating activities? Say, for example, for garments company, selling garments is cash inflows and buying raw materials, cash outflows. Paying salary and benefits to the operators or employees, outflows. These are operating activities. All right. So cash
Yes, sir.
inflows from sale of goods or services, because sale of goods or services means you are receiving money from the operations, not by selling the machines. Say, for example, sewing machines. But sewing machine manufacturer will sell sewing machines, that will be operating activities. From return on loans, interest received, or equity securities, dividends. These are also cash inflows from the operating activities. Return on loans. That means if you are providing loan to somebody else, and on equity securities, dividend receipt. That means you are investing money and you receive dividend. And cash outflows includes to supplier for inventory, raw material purchase, as I have said, suppliers for inventory, to employees for services, to government for taxes. That is also related to operating activities, government taxes, because you are paying taxes on the income you generate from sales. To lenders for interest. So you are receiving money from the lenders and you are paying interest, but pay payback loan is not operating cash outflows. Payback loan is not only interest, because interest is related to your operations. So payback loan is not operating activities, that is financing activities, because the finances are coming from the company. So one type of activities in a company is operating activities that we include in a cash flow statement, and to any other expenses, any other expenses. All right. একটু একটু পরে আপনার কল দিতেছে, একটা লেকচার দিতেছে। Sorry. So to others for expenses, any expenses of the company, electricity bill, and investing activities, the another kind of activities of business organized investing activities. What are the cash inflows from the investing activities? From sale of property, plant, and equipment, as you can recall, when you are selling sewing machines, you are garments company selling sewing machines. It is in cash flows from investing activities, because it was your investment. Now you sold out the invested assets, you are getting cash. So it is cash inflows from the investment activities. From sale of debt or equity securities. So here, that means you invested fund. Here, can you recall here? From return on loans, are you getting? So you provided loan, interest is operating. Dividend is operating. But when you are selling the security, security means shares. When you are selling the shares, this is investment. Similarly, interest is operating, but loan is not operating. Loan is financing activity. So here, cash inflows, sale of property, plant, and equipment, sale of debt or equity securities, not the dividend. You are selling the share from collection of principals on loans. So you provided loan, interest receipt is operating, but principal receipt, that means the loan you provided, now you get it back. It is investing activities. Outflows includes purchase of property, plant, equipment, purchase of debt security, equity shares, providing loans to anybody, to make loans to other entities, providing loans. All right. And this is investing. And financing means sourcing of fund. You get fund from the owners, it is financing. From sale of equity securities. Equity securities means owner's capital. Companies own stock. Issuance of debt. Sometimes do you know what is bond? Commercial paper. Bond means the companies take loan from the general public or institutional investors. So here financing indicates what? Sourcing of fund. So you can source fund from the owners. You can source fund from selling bonds or notes. And outflows includes when you are paying to stockholders as dividend financing, because they are the owners, so you are giving share of profit. Dividend means share of profit. To redeem long-term debt or reacquire capital stock. That means when you are paying issuance of long-term debt, now you are paying long-term debt. So it is outflow. Or reacquire capital. You sell shares of your company, equity. Now you buy back. This is also reacquire, or this is also known as buyback own share of the company. So if you sum up, these are the summary of the cash flow statement. Cash flow from operating activities, inflows, outflows. Cash flow from investing activities, inflow, outflow. Cash flow from financing activities, inflow, outflow. And the difference between cash inflows, outflows, inflows, outflows, inflows, outflows will be equal to net cash flow. That means that will be equal to your cash at hand, if you can remember your cash budget. There are some non-cash activities. These non-cash activities that do not affect cash are not reported in the body of the statement of cash flows. Say for example, depreciation are reported in a separate schedule at the bottom of the statement of cash flows, or in a separate note or supplementary schedule to the financial statements. Non-cash activities, issuance of common stock to purchase assets. So here non-cash activities, that means you buy some assets by issuing common stock. So it is not cash. Conversion of bond into common stock. So it is also not cash, because it is bond means loan. Loan is converted into a stock. A stock means ownership. Issuance of মেবি আপনারা শেয়ার বাজারে শেয়ার বাজারে কি ঘটনা ঘটে সেগুলো দেখেন কিনা, তাহলে দেখবেন অনেক কোম্পানি আছে যে প্রথমে বন্ড বিক্রি করে, বন্ড বিক্রি করার পরে লোন দিতে পারে না, তখন বলে যে ঠিক আছে আপনাদের লোন রিপেড করতে যেহেতু আমাদের সমস্যা হচ্ছে, ইউ বিকাম দি ওনার অফ দি কোম্পানি। ইট ইজ বন্ডস কনভার্টিং ইনটু কমন স্টক। ইস্যুয়েন্স অফ, এটা আরো হয় যে আপনার অনেক সময় লেখা আছে 20% কনভার্টিবল বন্ড। 20% কনভার্টিবল বন্ড বলতে বোঝানো হয় যে আপনি বন্ড কিনলেন ধরেন 10 বছরের জন্য, এর 10 বছর যখন আপনার এক্সপায়ার হবে তখন এই বন্ডের 20% স্টক হয়ে যাবে। সো কনভার্টিবল বন্ড ইজ দেয়ার, বাংলাদেশও আছে। তো এখানে কিন্তু কোনো ক্যাশের কোনো কারবার নেই। ইস্যুয়েন্স অফ ডেট টু পারচেজ অ্যাসেটস, যে আপনাকে লোন দিলাম, আপনি একটা কম্পিউটার দিবেন। এক্সচেঞ্জ অফ প্ল্যান্ট অ্যাসেটস, আপনি একটা কম্পিউটার দিলেন, আমি আপনাকে একটা চেয়ার দিলাম। So these are changing, but these are non-cash activities, and this will not be reported as the cash inflows or outflows and format of cash flows. And we have shown this is ultimately the format here. And you can also show in this way. We can check Square Textiles example. So right this moment, I'm not going to Square Textiles. Just to get the idea what is cash flow statement, all right? There are three types: operating, investing, and financing activities. And these are recorded in a cash flow statement. Cash flow statement, okay, let's check the cash flow statement of Square Textiles Limited. Annual report of Square Textiles. So if you can see here, net cash flow from operating activities, that means difference between inflow and outflow. Net cash flow from investing activities, difference between inflow outflow. Net cash flow from financing activities. So operating activities, investing activities, financing activities. These are the three statement of cash flows. This is. So Square Textiles statement of cash flows is shown here. Cash flow from operating activities, sale received from sales revenue. Exchange fluctuation gain, receipts or payment or expenses. So here is the inflow, there is the income, other income, sorry. Here positive value is other income. So this is their total inflow. Maybe you are thinking that what is fluctuation gain? Fluctuation gain is that sometimes you buy dollar and dollar value changes. In January, the dollar rate was 128. Now it is 130. So $2 is minus here, will be. But here there is a gain. Gain means that you buy dollar or the dollar when it was deposited or you receive from export proceeds. After exporting, you have received dollar. And the price of the dollar when you receive was 100. Now it is 120. So there is a gain. It is known as exchange fluctuation gain. and payment to suppliers outflow. These are inflows and outflows. Paid for operating and non-operating activities, interest expense paid, income tax paid, and this is net cash flow from operating activities. Difference between this one and this one. And net cash flow from operating activities is negative for this company. That means payment to have more than receipts. Now, cash flow from investing activities, purchase of property, plant, and equipment. It is negative. What does this mean? This means that you sold machineries, property, plant, and equipment, and sale of property, plant, and equipment. Net cash flow from investing activities, difference between these two figures. It is also, oh sorry, this is purchase. Purchase means minus. It outflow. This is outflow and this is inflow. So outflow minus inflow. Outflow is more than inflow. So in operating activities and also in investing activities, the balances are negative. So this will be offset by the cash flow from financing activities. What are the financing activities? Long-term loan receipt, short-term loan receipt, and dividend payment. It is recorded as the negative. That means you pay dividend, but you have got a huge amount of loan and you have got some short-term loan, and now the difference between inflows and outflows is net cash flow, cash generated from the financing activities. Financing activities. So now, net effect of foreign currency fluctuation, operating other, here other, operating cash and cash equivalents, and your closing cash and cash equivalents, that means cash at hand. And this amount will be equal to your cash. It is 2023, 2024. So if we go to the balance sheet of the company, then remember that it is 481. So go to the balance sheet of the company. This is profit and loss statement. This is the balance sheet of the company. And under assets, you will find cash and cash equivalents. What is the amount of cash and cash equivalents? In 2024, it was 481 million, and in 2023, it was 550 million. So this will be equal to cash flow statement. That means cash and cash equivalents are explained there in cash flow statement. So 481,670,931. This amount and cash flow statements balance is same. That means your cash balance in your balance sheet or statement of financial position will be equal to net cash balance, and it cannot be negative. Remember that cash flow statement cannot be negative. Why it cannot be negative? আপনার কাছে যদি 100 টাকা থাকে তাহলে কি নগদে আপনি 101 টাকা খরচ করতে পারবেন? পারবেন নাকি? আপনার পকেটে 100 টাকা আছে, আপনি কি 101 টাকা খরচ করতে পারবেন?
না স্যার।
না স্যার।
পারবেন না। কাজেই ক্যাশ, আপনার কাছে ক্যাশ কখনোই নেগেটিভ থাকতে পারবে না, লোন থাকতে পারে। এই কারণে ক্যাশ ব্যালেন্স কখনো নেগেটিভ থাকতে পারবে না কোনো কোম্পানির। জিরো পর্যন্ত হতে পারবে যে আমার কোনো ক্যাশ নেই, জিরো ক্যাশ। সো আজকের আর পড়ানো যাবে না, আই এম নট ফিলিং ফিট। ওকে।